All right. So nobody volunteered. Let's see here.
Go for
Here, go ahead and get mine down
Oh,
first.
all right.
it.
There we come then. All right. Yep. There, I got them all. Okay, everybody. I didn't share my screen, did I? I'll do that. All right, everybody see that all right?
Mhm.
Okay. Move you guys over here. Let me just hit the cursor. There we go. Everybody see the cursor okay out there?
Yep.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay.
This last month, I guess, yeah, and well. Snowy egret, this was up at the Agua Nueva Park up in Tucson, by Sweetwater Wetlands. And it's interesting because the only parking you can do is at Sweetwater. And then you've got to walk to, at least when I was up there, you've got to walk to this park because they had the parking lot all barricaded off. Even though it's a great big city park, it was all closed off. You had to walk into it. So this guy was kind of hiding, playing hide and seek with me. So I was actually quite pleased when the shot turned out with all the grasses that we put in.
Yeah, you see the top of his head first, and then all of a sudden you see those eyes looking at you. That's great. I wonder if maybe you ought to,
Prop it in more.
well, you could, but maybe darken the surrounding area a
Oh,
little bit.
okay.
Yeah, to kind of bring more attention to him.
Okay, I did a little, but yeah, I'll play with it a bit more.
Yeah, I
'Cause I
see a
did put
little
bit
bit
of
there.
Virginia,
Yeah.
blurred it a little also, just to focus on
Hmm.
the bird more.
That helps.
Yeah, not easy to get with all the grass, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm. Okay.
there were a pair of them there. There was this guy and then there was a white heron.
This one?
Yeah. But this is the egret.
Oh, that's an egret. Yeah. I always get them mixed up.
Yeah, I had to keep looking in my book to remember. Look a lot alike.
Yeah.
So I liked catching the reflection.
Yeah,
And the
nice.
heron was actually behind, up and behind the egret.
Mhm. What do you think? You need all that top?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
But,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, Sandy.
And either minimize or get rid of that.
get rid of that.
Yeah.
Brings you closer to the bird.
Mhm. Okay.
That bird is so clean, white.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Okay. It's like you're,
Kim, are you using a zoom lens on these birds or you
Yeah.
get close?
Yeah, 100, I think I had my 100 to 400. And I still had to crop, given the distance from me.
mhm. Okay, looks like you're at the Fox.
I did the field trip to the box.
Ah, okay.
So this is one of the side walls of up on the stage.
Mm,
I just found the colors and the patterns and everything really interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
nice.
And took it in and put a topaz filter on it, but I don't remember which one now.
Okay.
That's the Fox Theater, huh?
Yes. Interesting, if you ever get a chance to actually do regular tours also, just for the general public, in case the club doesn't happen to do another field trip there, they do tours for the general public also.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Mhm.
Really, because I had only been in there once and it was for a concert, so obviously you don't see you don't get the chance to look around and stuff much.
Yeah. Do they take you through the backstage and dressing
Yes,
rooms and the
yeah.
side
They took
wings
us up
and?
to the Floor, where there's actually, to get to the seating in the balcony, there's a bar up there.
Hmm.
And
Really?
seating, couches and chairs, and display case from prior years, long time ago, actually.
No bad.
And of course, just the history behind the theater.
Nice.
And they also took us down backstage and below stage where the dressing rooms were, where the big Wurlitzer organ is, that sort of thing. So it was really worth the trip.
No, excellent. Was the Wurlitzer like behind, behind?
It's under the stage.
Oh, so it's not in a pit?
No,
in
it's
front
not
of
in the
it.
orchestra pit, or if it's in the orchestra pit, you couldn't tell from the way we were walking underneath. It's
Uh-huh.
under the stage. And it's,
Yeah.
then raised up.
Oh, okay. Interesting. With the old silent ones.
So then,
Bro.
when I went, they had raised it up.
Oh,
so
have they?
it's up,
Yeah.
So you could touch it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
And this is just one of the lights on the walls. Again, I played with a topaz filter. I like just the shading that the light was creating.
Mm-hmm.
And then burned the brightness of the light down just a little bit. It's fairly white, the lighting was fairly white in the glass.
Sure.
So the whole place is kind of Art Deco design.
So Southwestern Art Deco.
Oh,
Yeah.
Southwestern Art Deco. I see. Okay.
And then again, just another light, and I had to dodge and burn that a little bit too,
Mhm.
and then apply a filter to it.
Cool.
But I just like the designs and the colors.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Like the textures of it.
the sunshine.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's, did I miss anything? No, I guess we got them all.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, nice, thanks. Down there. All right, well, let's just go down the line here. We had a light painting class last week, so these are some of the examples of what we were doing. So you
That's
did this
nice,
at
Pat.
home,
Yeah, that is nice, Pat.
It was in 2018 in Tubac.
huh? Mhm.
So we went and got there early enough so we could see where we wanted to do the lighting.
Was that when Gary was still here?
Yeah.
I think it was, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because he had a class once or twice a year on light painting, yeah.
And ironically, that's just how they had them sitting.
Nice.
It was fence, so you couldn't get at them, but you could get over the fence.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. Nice. Then we did this.
Well,
Did you have a question, Dave?
yeah, Sandy, now that date is way back. So this one wasn't from the last studio,
No, this is from a former class.
but similar
Similar
method, huh?
Technique,
This
yeah,
one was
Yeah.
outside.
yeah. So this is outside at night. The light painting basically
Oh,
use a flashlight or something and a long exposure and stop way down and light the areas you're interested in. So these were in class. You got a couple of variations here.
mhm.
Mm.
It's cute.
Go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which one I like
Yeah,
better.
I couldn't decide either, because this one shows the drape, on the left side.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, where the other one's,
doesn't.
yeah, in the shadows.
The second one better. It's like more colors.
Because it's
Mhm.
longer.
Mm. Yeah,
On the face.
yeah. And you did get enough,
This looks pretty, but
yeah, you got enough depth of field here to carry. Yeah, you could do that pretty easily in post,
why-
if you ever decide to do much with that. Okay.
And this one I wasn't very happy with at all. I should have.
Show more.
put a flashlight around the.
Well, I think, it almost looks like a picture rather than a box. It was a box. Maybe we should have showed some of the front and the side of it.
Standing,
Yeah, it was kind of standing, so you just saw the top.
but even if it would have been lit across the bottom,
Mhm.
all of the outer part.
Yeah.
Giving it some dimension.
Mhm. What we're trying to do with this one, you guys, was basically run a light across here to give it some direction and then kind of let it off, but I think in hindsight, maybe we could have tipped the box back a little bit, got some front and some side on there to give it some dimension. Mhm.
That's cute.
That's good.
Mhm.
It's going.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
That's Mary.
It's really nice.
Yeah,
You know, there's
there's a lot of, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's got a lot of detail in it. You got all these little chips with lettering and everything. It's great.
Oh, these those are colors pop too, the light.
Mhm. Yeah, maybe in post you could kind of just brighten the one face up here to give it a little more attention to it.
And I question whether the one way down, you know, you see his little foot up in the air, but then it's all dark.
Okay.
Yeah, you could probably bring his leg up a little bit. You know how to do that?
Well, I'm trying to learn.
All right, let's do it. I just updated this. It came up quick. Sometimes it looks for the license and what have you. So there's a number of ways you could do it. You could do a adjustment layer and then just paint it in, or the way we've been working lately is by going to Camera Raw. And if you brought this in from Raw, you'd start here instead of going back. And you've got all your basic editing tools over here, but up here, see, this is global. And then as you move your way down, you've got, things to work on the image and erase, kind of like you've got a clone tool, and also there's now a AI driven tool that'll actually replace things that don't exist. If you want to get rid of something, like say you wanted to get rid of this book and something like that, you could use AI to do that. This next one is the one we use quite a bit, and you can either pick a subject or object or use a brush, but basically I'm going to use a brush this time, and I'm just going to come into this area here. And if I hold my Option key down, I can erase where it's overflowing. But basically, I usually lay it down pretty good. And then when I hold the Option key down, it erases it. And once you have that established, you can work your way down here. And let's just try shadow detail and start. You get a little bit. We're gonna have to bring exposure up too. So you could bring that up a lot if you wanted to. And I would just be subtle with it. And see how that's working.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got this mask painted in there. Let me change the color of the mask maybe. That might help out. I could get back up here. Oh, here, show the overlay. Here's your mask color. Let's make it green, I guess. There you go. Now you can see it. All right. So there's a lot of it there. So again, with a negative, you can get rid of areas where it's falling off. If you go a little too far, you can, bring it down and kind of go back in. So you can paint back and forth. It's almost like using masking and layers in Photoshop, if you've ever done that.
I don't know, I don't-
Yeah. Well, once you have that area selected, only that area will be affected by any of the editing changes you do. So at this point, if you increase the exposure,
Okay, that exposure is better, the blue isn't quite as
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. So you can work on it that way. If you start using the black, you see how it's gonna get kind of hollowed out and flat looking. So you want to be real sparing with that or not use it at all. Okay, so that's how you bring that in. And then if you wanted to do another mask here, create new mask with a brush, we could come in here and just choose this guy's face. And maybe we just want to add a little white to it. And it's slight bounce. Yeah, there's a little eyeball here. So next to this mask, and if you hover over the mask icon, you can see where the mask is. You can double click on it and rename it, like you can call this face. I didn't get it all. Like that. And then there's a little eyeball here and you can turn it on and off, see?
Mhm.
So you can see how you're
It's a
doing.
big difference.
Yeah, and if you adjusted it too far, you can back it off. There's also a global adjustment here. So here's the name of the mask. You can say you set a bunch of things rather than sitting there and tweaking every one of them to see how you can subtly make it lighter or darker. You can just move this amount slider, see? That's too much. That's not enough. So yeah, somewhere in there I think works.
Oh, when you slid that way over to the right, his face showed some red stuff.
Yeah, the red was where it was clipping. Yeah, see, I've got the clipping highlighted. If I turn that off, then if I go too far, it won't show it. It'll just get hot. But you can look on the histogram and see it's gone off the charts here. So there you can see that. So I can just pull it back until that disappears, like about there. Okay. So you can do the same thing with the shadows. So there's some detail that's plugging up back there, but it's black and you really don't care about it. So it wouldn't bother. If it was something where you had shadow detail there, you'd pull your black up a little bit to get rid of the blue that's indicating the shadows. So red would be highlights, blue would be shadows that are clipping or plugging up. Okay. Then you just hit OK and it takes care of it. And then you can save your image and you're good to go.
You
Okay,
can save it for me.
I could. There you go. All right.
Problem.
All right. Oh, let's go to Paula.
I think there was one more.
Was there one more? Did I miss one? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I put these guys here, I lose that bottom one sometimes. Ah, excellent. So that's outside. Yeah.
Probably one of my first painting, like paintings.
Mhm.
Probably hold it down. Did you leave the red? No, red. Okay.
It's probably the color of the light source and
Well, and give this, there was sometimes traffic and you got the
Mhm.
light that you didn't.
yeah, you got a little something in there. You could probably clone out if you didn't want it.
Let's see that hot spot at the top.
Yeah. You could tone that down too, but yeah. Good work out.
But I like the rock.
Mhm.
Just a-
So theoretically, I don't know what info it has on it, but we can take a look here real quick. And just move you guys over again. Guess I should have left this open. Another thing you could do coming in camera raw, you could have take a look at your profiles and in your color temperature, it's set as shot. Now you could change that to auto and it might compensate for that. There you go. So now you're into more of your natural tones. If that didn't work and you know there's a white area in the image, you can kind of go shot. You can take this little eyedropper and go over here and let's say that this should be white. You do that and it'll color balance that way. So that's another way to do it. So that's a custom one. It'll create a custom. But if you go to auto, it'll warm it up just a little bit. Kind of make it a little more natural.
Yeah, it was,
So if something looks like it's got some kind of tint in it from the light source, you can correct it pretty easily that way before you even start working on it. Okay? All right. Now we guess we can go to Paula. Thanks.
Okay, this was the backside of the bakery over in Disneyland. And rather than, I like the textures of it and the different
Mhm.
shapes on it. But then I took it in and sort of solarized it a little bit to bring out some of the blues and added a little bit of color.
Mhm.
That's got great horizontal and vertical design, Paula. I like this.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I'm not sure I don't know if this is an actual vent for the bakery. I'm not sure what the hose is, but I decided to leave the hose in.
Mhm.
Mhm. I don't know if it needs a little snapping up or if you want to keep it muted. What do you guys think?
It's dark.
Dark and maybe a little flat.
Oh, that's true. I think that partially happened when I solarized it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can counteract that a bit. By adjusting your whites or your exposure,
Yeah,
blacks and so on. Or
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This was just a matter of being at the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
I got lucky with this one.
Mhm.
Timing's everything.
Um, I did quite a bit of cropping. The
Mhm.
original photo, I had to do some AI expanding on it to get the tail at the top and add a little more down at the bottom.
Mhm.
And then when I was doing that, to do another adjustment, it added that white border, and I just decided to keep it.
Yeah, interesting edge.
Yeah, I did a square crop on it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it works nice in square format. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, good shot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonder if you could bring this down a little bit. Of course, you'd have to.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
mm.
Okay. This is another shot. This is at Radiator Springs in Disneyland.
Oh,
It's where they have one of their rides, and this is just all the theming they did. But it was getting on near to sunset, and I like the lighting. I did darken the sky a little bit and brought out some of the textures. But
that's Disneyland, Paula.
yes,
They made that rock.
correct. That whole
Amazing.
the rock in the background's all man-made.
Based on something that's in nature, huh? In Utah or
Right.
something.
Well, if you saw the movie with the
Cars.
one Cars, this is sort of based on where that was located in the movie and so
Wow,
forth. This part of the park.
that's really neat. Now, was it this gloomy day, or did you put in that?
I I I I didn't like the sky that was there before, so I
Mhm.
changed to a different sunset and darkened it a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's working good. Pops out that rock.
Mhm.
Is there some kind of name for that rock? Like,
Probably, but off the top of my head, I can't think of
yeah,
it.
you know how they name the rocks in the
Yeah,
deserts here.
Yeah,
Alan's well, or something.
Yeah, it could be a balanced rock, although it's pretty
Yeah.
soft there. I would lighten this area up just a little bit to get it to come forward.
pop out a little bit, okay.
Yeah, just a little here.
Mhm.
I don't know if just this edge will be enough or if you need to bring a little of the bottom in there too.
Okay, I can get that done.
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay, now you'll see there's this one, and then I did it in black and white because I couldn't make up my mind. But
Mhm.
basically, it's a street lamp, again, taken close to sunset or a little after sunset. And I did darken up the sky quite a bit and tone down the highlight in the center.
Okay. So here's the black and white. Here's the color.
Color.
I like that color.
Yeah, I'll go for the color.
It's warmer.
Yep, and I thought about cropping it on the right-hand edge, but then I said, no, I'm not sure I want to do that. So,
Yeah, I think the fact it's off center a little bit helps.
yeah,
Mhm. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah,
thank you.
the glow here
Nice
is
pictures.
more apparent than it is here. It kind of gets
Right,
great.
gets lost. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could bring that back a little bit if you wanted to, but I think the
Mhm.
looks well enough that I wouldn't bother.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's go down to Tim.
This is at Desert Meadows Park,
Mhm.
and it's a verdant, on the Ocotillo. And, I didn't like the background, so I put this background in behind it to get, because I like the color and sort of the, so it's more creamier and smoother. And I did a radial gradient around its head, that the bird's head, to sort of make it a little brighter.
Mhm.
And hopefully draw your eyes to it, to the bird's eye.
Mhm. What do you think of maybe darkening the Ocotillo a little bit too? Yeah, that might help.
So that detracts from the bird, you think? or-
No, I think it'll just bring your eye more to the bird.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it
Wow.
Madeira Canyon?
yeah,
Wow.
The original file, it wasn't real sharp.
Mhm.
And, I mean, of course, it's really hard to get all these moving objects together.
Yeah.
But I was pleased with the background, and I tried to sharpen it in topaz, and then it looked crunchy.
Mm.
So I brought it into Photoshop. I stylized it as an oil,
Mhm.
and it sort of texturized it, and I thought it worked pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
is that two shot, is that one shot? Or-
Yeah,
Wow, that's right.
right.
it really gave the bee quite a villainous look here.
Yeah.
That was one.
That's
mean-
very interesting. And Tim, what's the filter you're using, the textures?
It's in Photoshop. The filter is stylized, and you go to oil painting,
Oil.
and
Yeah. Then you adjust the textures and the lighting and so
Yeah.
on to get what you want.
right. It brought out the
Very cool.
Mhm.
It hid some of the faults that were in the original picture in a way, because
Mhm.
it's the way it's textured. You know?
Was that a roof?
Now, it looks like your light source is coming this way a little bit, but the light in the shot is here. So the trick is to figure out where the highlight is from the light source on the original subject and then match it.
Yeah,
Then you'll be a little more cohesive.
right.
I think in this, it's subtle enough, you're not gonna notice, but if it starts getting to the point where you're really seeing the light source that you picked
Yeah.
for the effect,
Mhm.
it's good to match it.
Yeah.
So this one, I think you're okay.
This is a Madeira Canyon also, and it's a Scots Oriole.
Hmm.
And I tried to line up the background, the bird with the color in the background. And it worked pretty good. I managed to clip its tail. So I use generative expand and Photoshop it to make a tail, basically.
Mhm.
And that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate. I've chased this bird around before and couldn't get a clear shot.
Mm.
And so,
Looks like he's been going through some stuff too. He's got, I don't know, dust or pollen or something going on here. Yeah.
Not very-
I'm wondering if just cropping him down might,
it's okay.
yeah, might help out too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good cut.
And then maybe darken this down a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that would give it what you need. Okay.
This one, I think this is sort of still a work in progress, but it's a windy day. It's a phenomena.
Mhm.
And the wind was blowing his mane or crest, I guess.
Mhm.
And so it also the light had sort of bleached out the color and it blown out the color in some of the crest feathers. So I cloned some of the crest feathers in the color, and I probably got a little carried away here, but I think probably what I'm going to do is maybe make for a more moodier background or something, but the birds with the crests are kind of interesting. They have a little bit different dimension than just the bird on a stick.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that wind blowing look.
Mhm.
Let's work on this one a little bit. I think, well, I would add some bottom with the generative fill as we've done before. There was something I thought about, when you get like 2 or 3 iterations, sometimes you like parts of one better than you do others. And so
Yeah.
I've been playing around and I found that you can actually get the best of both worlds if you want. So let me explain. So we'll do generative expand here to generate. All right.
Wow.
So
That's incredible, Sandy.
you've got 3 choices here. But say I like, well, this one kind of works together. Last time I did it, I was curious to see how it would work out. But say you like this tail, but you didn't like this part. So what you can do is you can take this layer and copy it. Okay. And then in your mask, let's turn this other one off. In your mask, you could just erase the parts you don't like. Like, let's go back and let's say we like this one better, okay? But we don't like this, okay? So we're gonna go here and with a brush, I'm gonna just hit B for brush and use black. And let's just, oops. Make sure I'm on the mask here. Oh, I know what's going on. What show is the background there? When they extended the background, I had black on there. So I turn this on. There we go. Turn this on. Now I can choose which one of these I like. So you can selectively work on 2 areas.
So you copied one of the
No,
options?
no, I copied the whole thing and I just chose a different option where that worked better, and I just masked out the areas. And the one I like just the tail on, yeah, here, if I turn it off, you can see that I masked out the area where I didn't like the tail. So I hit brush again, I be a little better, and go back up here. Make sure I get it all. There we go. So now it's just showing that. That black is the extension, because again, I have black in the background when I extended it, so it went black. So now when I turn this on and go back to the main area rather than the mask, I can choose another option here. So I didn't like that one, so I can pick this one or this one. I think that one works. Okay. So that's kind of cool. You can do that. Yeah. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just flatten it now. And at that point, if there's anything I want to work on, I'm gonna go into history here. And I'm just gonna make a snapshot. So if I want to restore back, so there's the original. And there's where we're at. So I'll take this little restore area here and go to here. So if there's anything I do or I was retouching or what have you, I could restore back now from the current state rather than the way it originally was. So it's always a good thing to kind of back up. Nowadays, you can do a lot of things on layers like cloning, where in the past you couldn't, and you always had to do it this way because the only way to get back was to use a history brush. Whereas now, if you're cloning on a layer, you could just erase with a, with a mask or with an eraser, and it's not going to affect the rest of the image. So there are a few ways to work on it, but just out of habit from doing that for so many years, I usually like to make a snapshot so it's at the current state in case you want to work on something. Okay, that might be a little deep for some of you, but yeah.
Places to get lost.
Yeah, exactly. So once we have it there, yeah, you can probably play around with camera raw. You may want to, take one of Don's favorites, and that's radio gradient. We can just kind of grab one here. I don't know where the handles went. Still having problems with it on this particular version. Can't find the darn handles. Let me see here.
Yeah, I noticed not as well. Actually.
Yeah, I know in Lightroom you can change it to always on, automatic, and so on, but I don't see that here. So I don't know where that went. You can see the overlay. All right, I'll have to do some. Yeah, that's just presets and so forth. Down. Oh, here? Yeah, that's just the color overlays. Oh, here, show pins and tools. Thank you, Pat. So you do know some things.
A lot.
There you go. Okay.
Where was that?
The dots to the right of that show.
It's to the right on the overlay. So basically, yeah, you got show hide pins here. Okay. Yeah, no. So we can take this and do whatever we want with it. In this case, I would invert it. And then the trouble is, does it have an auto hide? Yeah. All right. See if that works. Once we start working on it. We can first try maybe just taking the exposure down a little bit. And then I would also feather it a little bit. See if we can find the feather, yeah. And then maybe make it a little larger. So you could do something subtle like that,
No, it's great.
So do you always feather the overlay?
I like to, otherwise you get a real hard edge on it. I mean, if you take it down, see how hard it gets. Yeah, so you feather it. And as you feather it, if you invert it, it works its way in. So you have to make it bigger. So there you go. Okay.
That's good, Sandy.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
yeah, it's nice.
So there's a couple things there you can play with. Oops, I think I just hit the zoom, guys. All right, let's back here. Move on.
Oh, this was in the morning before there was much light. There was such little light, I just went ahead with black and white. And I bumped the bird out a little bit and I put some color in its eye, because the eye sort of is this distinctive feature anyway.
Mhm.
Just left it like that.
Yeah, love the crust on that.
I like the contrasts.
Mhm. And the way these lead in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The branches sort of progressively fade.
yeah. Yeah.
Was
Nice.
this bird out at Canoa?
Yeah. It was a Madeira green in the morning, I guess the birds fluffed up to keep warm. Yeah.
Yeah, they fluff up because they're chilly.
Really fluffed up.
Cute.
Dry. It was like a little ball,
Yeah,
so I took a photo of that.
that's great. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Yeah, I don't know, the older I get, the more I fluff up when it gets about 70 or. Right. Yeah, let's go to Alan.
I bought 6 and cheating on you right here.
Ah, that's all right.
Wow.
Wow, that is nice.
I took this.
Very nice, Alan.
That's a
Very
wow.
nice.
Thanks, thank you. So it's a shot of downtown Calgary and
Mhm.
and the moon's not really there. It was kind of close to there, but I had to move it. So. Anyway, but the reason I put it in this week is I discovered a new blurring technique and I got kind of carried away.
It happens. I use it for everything.
So it looks like there's a whole bunch of water here in front of Calgary here, but it's not the case. So
Yeah.
there is a river to the left. You can see the bridge,
Mhm.
but I just like the way this came out. So.
Yeah, I like the effect it created. It's a sharp image.
Yeah. So it's actually 3 images put together.
Mhm.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, there's a guy on Facebook I saw recently, and I can't remember his name, but he's developed a whole style around this blur where he'll blur the whole background and then he'll
Adam
Minsky, yeah.
You'll see it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he ends up, sharpening up the subject. So you've been seeing him too. Yeah.
That's good.
About 2 weeks ago, I guess, we went to the ice skating oval in Calgary for the Calgary Olympics.
Uh-huh.
And this was actually a competition. I don't remember Pan Am competition. But this guy is going around at 60 kilometers an hour, so pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I blurred him out a little bit, and I just liked the effect of it. I think it added something coming out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were your settings?
It was settings. It was well, it was about 4.6 f, and it was probably around probably about 1500 speed.
Probably blend this in a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you don't see in this one, where it kind of blended out, was on the skate on the left hand side. On the other side, it shows you a little bit of ice kind of coming up from the power.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, these guys get moving.
And I thought he was just coming right out on it. Yes. This is from last week. I got carried away in this.
So he continued at home. Yeah. Yeah, we did this Powerade bottle in the class and got some fun results, and then you took it to the next level, which is good.
Oh, with the power that's in the background?
No, I added to it. I did that and then I kind of faded it out and stretched it. And then I added some ice
Mhm.
and I faded out the water, or the water.
Yeah, and used your blur effect again. Yeah, I kind of like the way it's ghosting here.
Well, what I was trying to get the power a label a little bit more sharp, and I get lost in it, so kind of gave up on it.
What, do you have a previous version where you didn't blur it?
I did, but I'm not quite sure how. I just got lost in it, so I just gave up on it.
Okay, well, if you want to pursue it further, take the one that is sharp and put it in a layer behind this. And with the mask, just start pulling it through. You don't have to make it 100%. You can, start lower and work your way that way. Now, there's two ways you can do it. You can put it in front and just bring it through a little bit and then change the opacity. Or if you want to keep it pretty crisp, put it behind and then change your color from black to a level of gray, depending on how much you want to pull it through. White will not pull it through at all, and black will pull it through more. So, just kind of work in between till you get it where you want it.
So this blurring technique, is that something you learned from YouTube?
It's in the blur. Could you bring up the Photoshop thing?
Yeah, we'll just grab one of your images real quick here.
I can never remember where they are.
I think it's in filter blur, right?
The blur gallery.
Yeah.
And if you go to blur path, that's really cool. That's where all the interesting things are. It's really cool stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't played with this, but
Oh,
yes, I guess the more speed, the
Yeah.
more it goes, and then you can taper it.
It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, and again, if you play with layers, you can pull back things that you want to
Mhm.
not have blurred or subtly blurred and kind of blend them together. Yeah. So like on this one, you could, let's get out of this.
Yeah, the work path. Pretty powerful.
Mhm. Do you hit OK or return that? Oh, it's got a spin blur too.
Oh,
I guess you can add that. Yeah, I haven't played with this yet. This looks like fun. Okay. All right. All right. So let's go to the next one here. There we go.
This is from Canoa Pond. And it's a nice photo. I took it into Topaz and added the effect on it, and then I went back into Photoshop and added that blur effect to the top part and also to the bottom part, but I left the middle part kind of horizontal so that it was. Let's see that.
Yeah, and did you use maybe a painterly effect or something in here? Or
What's that?
did you use a painterly effect or something in this
Yes.
area? Ah, okay. So you use a combination of effects there.
So there's a combination, so there's.
Yeah,
And
it's
this
some
one's from
interesting things.
Topaz.
Mhm. Nice.
And then I blurred the top part of it using that path.
Yeah, you can see. Mhm.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And I blurred the bottom path,
Mhm. Mhm.
but I left that middle part alone. so
Left
that
this,
it's
left this area alone.
not the water's edge.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
fun.
oh, that's nice.
I like this.
One turn Calgary.
That's why you're here.
2 weeks ago,
Oh, wow.
pretty cold day.
I'll imagine.
It just looks like flocking.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I darkened the tree up, the limbs of the tree and and brightened up the snow over.
Mhm.
Was that the sky?
That is not the sky. I don't. I don't think it's the sky. No, it's not. It's not the sky. But it's, I went out specifically to try and get that shot.
Mhm.
And, and this is the Adams effect
Mhm.
from Paris, a rainy day in Paris.
Mhm.
So you just sharpen out the subject and work the rest of it.
Yeah.
And it kind of darkened the path from the foreground to where he was going, just to try and give it a little bit more of a pathway, I guess.
Mhm. And you blur the whole thing and then pulled it through, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would maybe pull a little more blur through here. So,
A little bit more.
yeah, you got just a little here, but you know, I'd get a little more going in
More
here.
blood.
Yeah, because yeah, I think this pattern is distracting from the subject. Yeah. So the foreground's kind of pulling you to look at it, you know, it's competing a little bit. I think that's it. Yep. Okay. Thanks. Is there a YouTube on that?
Sorry?
Is there, yeah, can you send me the link? I'll send it to everybody. Yeah. All right, Dave, you're up.
Okay.
There we go.
So, folks, this week I have some intimate family shots and some tender love, as you'll see as we go along. And I started putting this together around Thanksgiving, which is a big family holiday. And so they're kind of street shots. And this first one here, she was observed, mother and child, up on the grassy slopes overlooking the demolition derby that I showed some pictures of. And Sandy, her cradling form is very sculptural because it reminds me of the famous British sculptor Henry Moore, who did so many recumbent mother and child sculptures. It
Hmm.
has that monumentality and the intimacy. I zoomed in, there were thousands of people sitting around watching the demolition derby, and I just saw this woman holding her baby. So it's kind of intimate. Now, Sandy, I did discover on the program that I'm using a highlight slide bar because on this one, the baby's face is so bright.
Yeah.
But my editing program can only do a highlight reduction slide bar globally.
Uh-huh.
And so I was looking for this custom selector, and that requires an upgrade, of course.
Yeah, sure.
So the baby's head is very bright. You know, this was a very sunlit day.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think to improve this photo, I would knock some of that hot spot off the baby. But if I did it globally, the mother's face would recede into darker. So
Yeah.
I left it as it is and I ran it in watercolor to
Mhm.
soften it up.
Mhm. Yeah, later when you decide to get into editing with a higher end program, you could selectively
Fix that.
pull these
Yeah.
in and fix them. The other thing I would probably do is darken the background down a little bit to make her more prominent,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know. So you could take something like this and let's see how well select subject does. Let's close that up. So we go to camera raw here and go down our selected filters and just try select subject, see what happens here. Yeah, not too bad. Then you can just get rid of the leg. So basically, you would subtract and then just get a brush. Just go in there and get rid of the leg. Anything else that you don't want to affect. Now, this particular, and then if I hit my option key, I can add back where I over erased. Now, in this particular instance, what's selected is going to be what you affect. So we want to invert this. So if we go up here and hit these three dots, we can invert the mask. Now you got the background. Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right. So now that that's selected, you could start with maybe a little exposure and take the highlights down just a bit. Maybe pull a little white out. And again, now that I've done all this, rather than tweaking all these individually, I can take this amount slider and, make more or less. So I
Yeah. Punch the background
yeah,
darker.
yeah. So, but I'm doing it without moving all these individually, which is kind of nice. So I like that addition. It's been there a little while. You might want to blur the background a little bit too.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so I would maybe take texture and take it down just a little bit. And you can play, maybe take a little sharpness up. Yeah, that might be enough. So it's not competing so much.
Right.
Yeah, so that's something you can do in the future
Yeah.
and lots of other things. Let's see, again, you could,
Mm, that changed it a lot.
you could also, oh, hang on, let me undo that. If you hit the top here, it'll redo your last state. So it basically doubled the darkness. We want to go back into the filter itself. So my bad. The other thing we could do is actually create another one. We're creating a new mask and we can go into range and we can pick a luminance range and pick that hot spot.
Yeah. Right.
So everything that's hot in here will show up. And then you can tweak it down. So you can tweak it to just the areas you want to affect. Maybe something like that. And at that point, you could take it down a little bit. And if it starts getting muddy, a good cheat is to change the color temperature a little bit, kind of warm it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little red, a little yellow. There you go. So if you want to see what that's doing, it's your before and after. So you can, here, just using this snapshot, I'll show you a before and after real quick. So here's where I started,
Yeah. Very bright.
and here's where we're at.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Wanted that black sock and shoe out of there.
Yeah, you could probably go to generative fill and play around with that.
Just back.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that too. Okay.
Okay. This second picture is the grandmother in the matriarch. And I went down to the Amato chili cook-off and car show, and I was just walking around, and I got this amazing picture. Now, the direct mother was just in front of this scene. She was selling honey jars, and then I noticed the grandmother holding the child in the background, and here was the real click. I got a couple pictures of the mother, but then the grandmother. And Sandy, I'm thinking on this one, I may have captured an enduring image because it reminds me of Dorothea Lange's pea patch mother. Do you recall that picture?
Not that one, but I know
The
her.
famous
Yeah.
WPA project in the Depression era,
Yeah, yeah,
the mother with the children,
yeah. I do that.
because there's a look of concern on the grandmother's face. And if you'll notice in the background, there's the word protect on the
Mhm.
car bumper. And I just think this is a very intimate moment of love and protection, and the matriarch, the grandmother, and the beautiful child is his face is lit. And there's wind blowing her hair across her face and gorgeous color. The watercolor filter did a nice job of softening the textures and the clothing and whatnot. But I think I may have captured something here that's very intimate.
Mhm. Yeah, you may want to play around with the original piece too and not go into an effect and see where you can go with that. And maybe go black and white.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
For that old time look.
Gotta go more toward yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what that does.
Yeah, good idea, Sandy. Okay, on to the patriarch. Here is a father and daughter, very intimate picture, zoomed in. This was somewhere in Washington. And they're just hugging each other, holding each other, father holding his daughter. So this is very intimate portrait. This one, Sandy, I did try and filter, but her fine blonde hair would pixelate it. So
No.
I left this straight out of the camera. This is the straight shot, direct out of the camera.
Hmm.
No filter, no nothing. It's direct.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you got a little more to the matter at hand here.
Mm.
Get back here. Tools on here aren't wonderful, but let's try again. Maybe somewhere around here. We might go in tighter.
Wow.
Mhm.
Brings it even closer.
Yeah, you might want to take a little more side off here and maybe lose this part here too. Then
Maybe.
darken this down. So
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Darken the hand or something, do something with it.
yeah, the hand and probably crop that out or darken it up.
Yeah, Sandy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think you get a little more intimacy there.
Okay, folks, here's a fun shot. This tuckered out family was observed in Monterey Cannery Row. And obviously, there's lots of family activities and things to do. And this family's all tuckered out on this bench. And presumably, the father's making an SOS call to the mother. Help, can you come back? She may have stepped away for shopping or something, But they're all three of them are just tuckered out on the bench, and he's raising up his cell phone to make a call. So this is what I got. It's a kind of a long zoom, but I saw this happening. It has a wonderful golden hour light. I did try and run this in a filter, but it didn't need it, Sandy. I know it's a little out of focus, but what you see is what you get.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first thought would be to crop it down, but I don't know. I kind
Yeah.
of that graphics going.
Right, the graphics, the verticality.
But then sometimes you just got to give up a little bit, get what you need.
I
Can't
think you're right.
everything.
I didn't try that, but I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I
There
keep
you go,
by
Sandy. More to the subject.
my better half that you can't always keep everything you like.
Yeah, that's a good cut, Sandy. I think you're right. Take out all that extra
Yeah,
graphics.
there you go. Okay.
Yeah, good job. That's a good cut.
All right.
Okay, folks, an amazing tender love scene. Now, this is what you get when you take your camera with you everywhere you go. I'm walking into the Safeway at Icicle Station in Leavenworth, Washington. Got my camera just to go get a loaf of bread, but I got my camera. Right? They have this fantastic Dutch crunch bread. Everything in Leavenworth is Bavarian. So I'm walking in and I see this happening, and I got two exposures, and I wanted to show both of them. They're tying each other's shoelaces,
Ah,
but so intimate and loving. And so I tried to compose these side by side and it didn't quite work. It didn't fit. So I did a little cropping. And then my wife, Mavis, came up with the idea to put it on top in a crisscross pattern. And I think it works great.
Mhm.
Cropped a little bit of the cars out, some shine and stuff, and ran it in watercolor.
Mhm. Yeah, good time.
But you know, you just got to have your camera with you if you want to get something like this. They didn't even know I'm standing right there. You know, they were so involved in this moment. So there's my intimate family portraits.
Well, great. You always have some
Great.
stories to go along with them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to Dave Erickson.
Okay, after our light painting episode, I went home and at night, I picked this cut crystal thing off of my shelf and tried to take a picture of it with the flashlight.
Mhm.
This is what I got.
Oh, fun. It almost looks like you superimposed two objects. Yeah, it's, now I see that's the edge of it.
Yeah, I put the light on the right hand side there.
Uh-huh.
But you also got a lot of prism effect in the quartz around the edges.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got some subtle colors going on. Nice.
That's neat.
So it wasn't too bad coming to the studio class by accident. There you go. Yeah, sure. Never know what you'll find.
I did the same thing with this old English brass fishing reel, circa 1820
Wow.
collection. And I think I got a little bit too much light in the back end.
Mhm. Well, you can knock that down easily enough in post. Yeah. But you got enough bones there to work with. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Yeah, you could probably sneak a little more edge out here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know that one.
Everybody probably knows where that is. Yeah. Coppery granary. I took this quite a while ago, but I had the original photo just kind of flat. So
Mhm.
took it back into Lightroom and put these gradient filters on the lower left to put some shadows into it.
Mhm.
That's how
Yeah, I think that helps bring your eye along, give you that direction. I don't know, cropping this, I see you're trying to finish with this, but I'm just wondering if maybe you take the top off. Just kind of, well, maybe somewhere about here. Kind of hate to lose all those. Maybe, maybe not.
Beam across the top, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your choice.
Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
next one is in Iguana in Costa Rica.
Mhm.
It's very busy. He ran up this tree and I kind of like the jungle effect.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Especially since his eye was so well focused.
yeah. Hmm. They sure do blend in. Nice.
Like more Mount Hood background with a panorama.
Mhm.
I think it was 2 or 3 shots. Stitched together.
Mhm.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
That's just a dream landscape, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What a clear
Dave,
day.
is that a panel or how did you get it so long like that?
Yeah, he took
2 or 3 shots.
2 or 3 shots and stitched them together.
Stitched it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nice. Thank you. Okay, Don.
Yeah, these are Monet's garden shots. I showed
Mm.
some of these earlier in the year, and some of them people didn't see them and they wanted me to bring them back, so I brought them back, and along with a few other ones. So this is there's lily pads.
Wow.
It was fairly dark. It was kind of an overcast day, so I got about 7, 8 radio filters going on in there. To bring out the shadows and stuff and the people and try to get so the light source looked like it was coming from the right side of the picture.
Mhm.
Wow. It's so lush and green and beautiful.
And it's quite a place.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought them back, Don. I wanted to see these.
Yeah. To get there someday.
Wow.
This is what inspired his ladies sitting in a boat pictures. That's bamboo behind it. And just these ponds and stuff are all, this was dry ground and he created the ponds and stuff so he could capture the light and stuff
Wow.
in these areas. Interesting fact is he tried to paint back in the day, tried to paint them on site, and they used a powder and added water to mix it to the paints. And because it was so hot, the paints would dry out before he could paint them.
Oh,
So he had to imagine he drew them by hand and then went into his studio and mixed the paint so he wouldn't dry out so he could actually paint them then.
Wow.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Mhm.
This is just that's the path through the gardens. It's a more of a maze than anything else, but it's getting on towards the end of the summer, so a lot of the flowers are starting to die off. But it's a lush place.
Mhm.
Well, that's for sure. Nice.
Thank you. This is a picture of my wife standing against the tall flowers.
Mhm.
What gives you an idea of the size of those flowers, their height?
Yeah,
I should pick the right top that day.
That's right.
yeah, she
Yeah.
did.
The
Yeah,
top goes great in the garden. Wow, a
This
haystack.
is the haystacks. I don't know how many follow Monet's painting and stuff. He's got a famous haystack painting. We've seen them in a museum in Russia, and this was sitting out back. So I tried the Monet filter on the haystack to try to
That's
emulate
great.
his a little bit. So
Fantastic.
Yeah, you can see some of the textures there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of them in the Art Institute in Chicago as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
Now they had the haystack at the gardens
yeah,
or
yeah.
somewhere
It was
else?
in a field behind the garden. Yeah,
Wow. They
and
put
this
it
is
there.
yeah. This is his studio here that he's got where he worked, and they just got a lot of his pictures, his paintings hanging in there
Yeah.
in the house.
Nice. No, this is one of my favorite.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is his kitchen. I just love that stove.
Wow, what a kitchen.
Oh,
Yeah,
To build that kitchen today would cost a fortune, right?
probably wasn't cheap back in the day either.
Yeah.
oh. Not
The
bad.
kids remember what you put the food into first drawing to it. Multiple choice.
Looks similar to the picture you brought for your light painting.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Don, for bringing.
Nice,
You
Don.
bet.
Thank you.
That's great.
That was nice.
Thank you.
We miss
Thanks,
everybody.
Don.
I get everybody here. Okay, before I show mine, I've been fooling around with different ways to get my landscapes and other things the way I like them, and I think I found a good workflow, so I was going to show it to you real quick. I do this in Lightroom, but I'll show it to you in Camera Raw. It's basically the same thing. So you can see I use quite a bit of filters, local filters. So what I've been doing lately is before I get into filters, close this up, go away. All right. What I'll do is I'll go to auto and get my rough edit there, and then I'll tweak it. So basically, if we just flatten all this out. It's not doing it on this one. I think it's option. These work different than, there we go. Okay. So if I go to auto, it'll give me somewhere of a start. Generally, what I'll do is I'll zero the exposure out, and then I'll refine these to my own taste. Get them kind of where I want them.
Quite the building.
Yeah, this is an old Byzantine church on the border of Turkey and Armenia. It was in this site where they had different forts and things that were over the centuries still active. And yeah, I'll bring some interior shots in at another time, but it's a pretty interesting place. But anyway, from there, I'll start working on usually the sky first. Let me find the sky here. Where are you? There we go. Okay. So in this case, I wanted to make the sky a little more dramatic and pull some of the hot spots out of the clouds. So I made adjustments here, which you can see. Basically, I just pull the highlights down. And then there's a way you can take that mask after you do the sky, and if you grab this area here, you can duplicate it and invert it. So that's what I did to get the next one, which is a foreground and pretty much everything else but the sky. Okay. And that's the work I did on that. So on that, mostly what I did was just sharpen things up. The biggest reason that got me started on this was I was kind of globally sharpening things up. And I found that the sky got real nasty a lot of times, or it was a grainy shot, like it was towards sunset, or sometimes if I had the ISO up too high, you'd really, make the grain too sharp. So I decided to separate things out where I would just work on the sky, get it where I wanted it, then go back and sharpen the other areas. So mostly what I did here was just texture. Okay. And then working from there on, I did a select subject just to get the building. And on that, basically I just pulled up shadow detail. Okay. And then to go a step further, those doors were a little dark. So I just pulled them up a little bit. See where I just pulled up the shadow detail. We can kind of see what happened there. So I found that working in these stages, it really made my landscapes pop a lot better, and I had better control over how the
Mhm.
skies looked, and I didn't have to worry about noise. The other thing I did on this trip was I decided to go back old school to manual, but after a while it got a little crazy. I remember all the work it was. So I decided to automate. So instead of going aperture or shutter priority, I decided to just leave it in manual and put my ISO on auto. And that really helped out a lot.
That's the way I shoot all the time.
It's a wonderful way to shoot.
Yeah.
And
Especially
then,
when you're traveling.
yeah, exactly. And you're doing landscapes and you're in buildings and you're in shadows and you're outside in the sun and you're all over the place. And then the light's changing with clouds and what have you. Yeah, the auto ISO is really nice. You can also limit how high it goes and how low it goes if you want, which I've done. But sometimes when I get into a really dark building, I'll have to pull that out and either go change the ISO manually or just take it all the way up to the top and let it go. But I found it's a wonderful way to shoot. So I've been doing that.
I noticed, Andy, when your process there, starting with the sky, I usually do the sky last, but doing the sky first, that really changed the way the whole picture looked.
Yeah,
And made it less work to do.
Well, if you start with auto, you're going to find that a lot of times that'll kind of get you in the ballpark,
Sure,
and then you can start zeroing in. So
right,
probably you're getting everything where you want it, but the sky's never where you want it.
yeah,
And the other thing I found is if you pick the sky first, if you just invert it, you got everything else. So
yeah,
it makes
that's
your
cool.
masking really easy. So
You can't see the forest for the
kind of
trees.
does two things at once, it makes it easy
Yeah,
to
that
mask.
is cool.
Yeah. And then, so if nothing else, you just make that other mask just to sharpen up the rest of the area.
Yeah,
So, yeah, try it out. I think.
I will. That just really amazed me how much just changing the sky alone affected the picture.
Yeah. So that was my, go ahead, Pat. Oh, the pole. Yeah, that, I guess that was a flagpole or something at one point. I've got another shot of it somewhere. And yeah, there was a flagpole there. And I could probably knock it out of this, but yeah, it goes all the way down to the ground here.
I don't find the bottom part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it a little distracting too. Nothing else. Yeah, I could probably get rid of that. Good catch. Okay, so let's.
Too modern looking for the rest of the building.
Yeah.
Well, it was right on the border, so I guess they wanted to put that Turkish flag up there. Yeah. Because the Armenian flag was on the other side and towers with soldiers and everything else. So they don't play nice. They used to have open borders and sometime back it changed and they haven't played nice since. So anyway, I thought I'd bring in
Wow.
just instead of people shots this time, I thought I'd bring in some places. So this is an underground cistern in Istanbul. And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water that's reflecting.
Yeah, it's a water cistern and it's just an amazing place to be. We just go full frame on these and
It's cool.
move you guys. Boop, you bounce back. There we go. Okay.
Want a tripod here? Or
No, I don't travel with tripods anymore. I probably should, but I don't know. With my torn rotator and everything, I just don't carry all that stuff anymore. In fact, I don't even take the R5 anymore. I took a smaller camera. I took the R7 and lighter lenses. Instead of 100 to 500, I took 100 to 400. Yeah, I keep it light. And sometimes I don't even take the wide angle. I'll just use the iPhone for the wide shots. Yeah. So this is the bottom of one of the columns, which was quite interesting. Where they carved it.
That is, the head's upside down.
Yeah.
So how old is that?
It's probably from the 15th or 16th century, or maybe earlier. I think it started out in Roman times and then they updated it after that. So actually it initially started in the Roman times, so it's really old. You know,
People are throwing coins in the water.
yeah, of course. They were there, so, make a wish and drop a coin.
It's really neat. Wow.
They just kind of grab columns from everywhere, so, some were built there initially and some were added. I really like this one. Had a nice pattern. And the lights kept changing colors, which was really pretty too. And all these shots were done anywhere from 8,000 to 12.8. And the new noise elimination in Lightroom got rid of all the grain. It was pretty amazing. And then this was a palace that a gentleman had in central Turkey. And even had his own private mosque, which I think is in the next frame. But they turned it into a UNESCO heritage site and they glassed the top in because the old timbers had gone and pretty much all that was left was just stonework.
It's a great shot, Sandy. Oh, look at this.
That's his private mosque
Wow.
within the palace
So-
complex.
Close together or you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all basically in a complex of buildings with a courtyard.
Well, is the carpet cut like people? The pattern in that carpet or the red? To me, it looks like a person, there's.
Oh, I see the way, yeah, the negative space, the red space. Yeah, it kind of looks like, but nah, I think it's mainly the geometric shapes in the middle and the red's the background. Yeah, you've seen the yang instead of the yin.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. This was pretty dark. This, I think, was at 12,800. And then this
Wow.
was just a fluke. I was walking through this area. They used to have these stops along the desert on the Silk Road where they kind of like motels now, where people would come in, they put their camels up for the night and they get a place to eat and they do some trading and stuff. And this was kind of the natural light in the stable. And I just liked the shapes
Great shot.
and the ornamentation of it. So I just shut up. And what I really liked was this little weed growing up here. I think to the shot a lot. So that was kind of cool. So that was fun.
Did you
It's really good.
go around?
What's that?
Did you have access by yourself to go around, or did you have somebody?
No, we basically traveled alone. We rented a caravan, basically a camper van. And we just planned where we were going initially. Kind of,
58V.
yep, that must be Paula.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, maybe you could mute that, thanks. So I drove about 5,300 miles on this trip. Turkey's a huge place. And we just kind of planned it as we went. Areas we stayed longer if we liked it. If the weather was bad, we moved on. We didn't spend as much time along the eastern borders, which now in hindsight is good because
Yeah.
things were going on with Syria back then that weren't making the news here. So we decided to go south.
Were the people friendly or?
The people were real friendly because we said we were Canadian.
Oh, geez, really?
And it was funny, we went into this one mosque and there were weddings there and I was taking pictures and I was talking to the grooms and they go, "Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, Vancouver." And they said, "Oh, nice." He says, "Yeah, we thought you were an American." So I thought, "Oh, I'm glad." Yeah, yeah. So they weren't too keen on the US at this point. But it's just the way it is. But yeah, the people are wonderful. They are very accommodating.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. Let me get to the next shot here. Looks like I got off track. Okay, so that one you've seen. Let's go to this one. So this is an area called Cappadocia, and basically they have what they call these little fairy towers, and people have lived in them for centuries. And this is more of a kind of an expanse area that they have trails and you can take horseback or little four-wheel drive vehicles and that sort of thing into. And I just kind of like the vista there. And this is just one of the shots from it. I'll bring
Amazing.
some shots in of the actual houses later. I think I brought one in before where I showed the interior, couple that.
And they had a garage in the
Right,
stones,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. So I did bring one of those in. But it's almost unearthly, the way it looks there. This was an interesting place too. It was just about in the middle of Turkey, and it was a salt water area that was drying up. And in the Roman times, they built like a levee across the center of it with a road on it. So it was private property at this point, but if you asked at the gate, they'd let you go through the salt processing area and then get onto this levee and you could go across to the other side instead of going all the way around
The
it.
original.
Yeah, the original road. Yeah, and I've got a bunch of pictures of that, but this is one I shot toward the shore on the other side. This area hasn't dried up much yet. This one's totally dried up. This is on the other side of the road. It's kind of odd. It almost looks like a spaceship landed there or something.
Yeah,
It
interesting.
used to be an island.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, just some of the ruins and getting toward dusk on the way out.
Now, did you adjust the sky colors or was that really that red?
It was that red. Yeah, I changed my exposure and kind of underexposed it and tried to keep some detail in the sun, but it's still a little blown. And then in post, I brought back, the shadow areas and the shadow detail. I did do a duotone on it too, though. I put a little bit of coolness down here. Yeah.
Yeah, like Alan said, you can see the mountains though in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, you still see the clouds and everything, but I just wish I'd gotten a little more edging on the sun, but it was kind of hard to do. And then this was in Istanbul. There was an area where we were up on this hill that everybody would come and sit out and watch sunset at night, every night. And across the Bosphorus, there were several mosques. And this was after the sun had already gone down. And I just caught that. We're quite a bit bringing the shadow detail out and getting the rest of these houses. Yep, and that's it.
Awesome.
Nice. Great work.
Real nice.
Thanks. Okay, let me get back to Zoom here and stop recording. Stop sharing.